Okay, everybody, welcome. It is finally end of year, and it is time to party with my best friend in the market, Scott Redler.
Right? How's it
Um,
going there?
so I apologize. We are a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties getting started, but we are all good. And let's just get some of the legal pleasantries and stuff out of the way. And
Get it going, Michael.
yep,
This way compliance doesn't come kick our butt.
yep, we love the compliance team. And okay.
You know, while you're doing that, I'll talk for a second and
All
I'll
right.
give you. So my name, this is what I do every morning, right? 6:30 Club, you guys know. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. It is now 2:14. We are doing a little powwow on a Friday since me and Michael are the hardest working guys in show business. No, I'm kidding. We've been here all week, so why not try and, wrap it up, tie it with a bow, because that's what everyone thinks this year is all about, right? Wrapping it up and tying it with a bow. And, we're going to figure out like kind of where we are, a few multiple plans I'm thinking about for the next week or two, how I'm situating and, just chill out and talk a little bit. I did bring a hazy IPA, a little thing. It's 2:14, so I figured it's actually, they say, what is it, 12 o'clock somewhere? Well, it's 12 o'clock on the East Coast, and it's 12 o'clock everywhere else except for the West Coast. But I give you permission, you too, Michael, to open up a beverage and chill out. And if you're trading, multitask. I also have my option account open. I have my swing account open. I have my active account open. So I'm watching and talking and going to do it all, which is what we do every day. And that's how we conduct ourselves. So cheers to everyone to 2023. Just be appreciative. I play that video, have gratitude. Listen, we all have a lot to be gracious, have a lot of gratitude for. Okay, some things don't always go right, but there's no perfection out there. Just a little bit of progress. Progress creates happiness. And if you are feeling joy, that's what creates happiness. So I'm going to feel a little joy right now with my little hazy IPA, little sip.
Yeah, Tony on YouTube just said, Scott, hey Scott, it's 6:30 someplace. So everybody, please, if you're watching this on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, put in comments. We're gonna get to all your questions, like, retweet, all that stuff. So Scott, I want to kind of kick this off with where we've come from in the past year and kind of how the mood has changed. So I'm gonna pull up just like a few numbers. There's our handsome man, but it's like, we see the SPY's up 25%, the Q's up 55%, the ARC is up huge, et cetera, et cetera. Last December.
Isn't it funny the way that works? we should all be retired this year after this year's trading. You go back to that slide, right? Look at the massive gains in the SPY and the massive gains in the Q's and ARC. Everyone bought the low. And it got measured perfectly, right? You listen to the TV sets and you hear everybody talking. It's like traders should be retiring this year because they gave money away. Everyone ready to retire after this year of trading? Do you have any comments out there, Michael?
Yeah, everybody, Ronald, Mario, Beverly, it's Dunster, Tony. Lots of people are saying hi.
What up, guys?
Yeah, so Scott, I think a big thing is we're seeing is right at the end of the year, everybody's bullish. Last December, everyone is bearish. We took off like a rocket. Now everybody's bullish. I just want to throw out a couple more things. CNN, fear and greed, it went from extreme fear to extreme greed. For the year, people were expecting 6% gain. Now that it's gone up 25%, people expect another 5%. Everybody loves Tom Lee. Everybody noticed that Tom Lee is the hero out there. But we have to remember what happened to Kathy Lee.
I'll be honest. I don't think you could ever go wrong with being a bull, to be honest, long term. I'd rather have guys out there that are historically bullish because historically the bull market wins. Historically over time, the last 100 years, if you put money in the S&P every single month, you do win. 2022, horrendous year. We closed on the dead lows. But if you put money in every single month in a 401k or a long-term account, you caught this year. And if you've been doing it for 15, 20 years, you're doing really well. So I'd rather, Tom Lee be paraded around more than the doomsday guys or the guys that say, buy gold, silver, a 6-pack of beer and a pizza, and for when the world ends, because that's not a trading strategy. But we all do know also that it's all about your time frame. And yes, you don't want to listen to the extreme bulls at certain points, and you don't want to listen to the extreme bears at certain points, especially if you trade for a living. If you're listening to this, you probably trade for a living. That means you get paid monthly and quarterly. That means you need to net money. That means you need to be a market timer. That means you need to read charts. You need to use your tier system. You need to use your process. So, you can't really, sentiment is actually real, you could use it, but sometimes, an oscillator goes from very oversold to crazy oversold. And sometimes you go from very overbought to extremely overbought. So if you try and play just the opposite side of the sentiment without using moving averages and a process and a tier system and your head and your execution, you're never going to be able to net money over time. So it's our job, Mike, which you helped me with so much, is taking everything that's out there and kind of putting it into what is this called? This is a funnel, and then coming up with a decision based on what's in front of us, not what we think we should be seeing.
See, Scott, I think of it more like making chili, because it's like
I love chili.
We're taking like random pieces of information and trying to turn it into something that tastes good. So I think it would be helpful if you talk to us a little bit about how you take all this information you see out there, all the news, the charts, the opinions out there. How do you turn that into like your
money?
plan? Yeah, to money, to a new car. Scott just got a new car. How do you turn that into a new car?
Takes a long time and takes a lot of work, and it's not easy. They don't give money away in the markets. That's why, every day, you guys see, I try and show everyone a consistency. I try and show everyone my process. So this way you can create your own process. So you can take all that information that's out there and turn it into how you press your buttons and how you do it with multiple plans, and then how you could think clearly to execute on those multiple plans. Because if you're not thinking clearly, you're never going to execute on what the market's showing you. And if you're not prepared, you're not going to have multiple plans in order to think clearly and execute fast when the market's moving. So you have to put it all together and make a big pot of chili, right? And like Mike said, and you got a lot of different ingredients, and everyone eats chili differently, right? I like to put chili on a big hero, melt some cheese, and eat it like that sometimes. Or sometimes 2 days later, I like to get a big bowl, sourdough bowl, put the chili in it, put cheese over, put it in the oven, and have it that way. So everyone likes to make the chili a different way, but if you don't have the right ingredients, the chili is going to taste like crap, and you're not going to want to eat it. So anyway, what are those ingredients for you? For me, it's a lot of technicals. It's a lot of it's a little different nowadays. You can't just be a technician. You can't just be someone who trades gold. You can't just be someone who trades the SPYs or the Qs. You have to know about the fundamentals. You have to know about what's the buzzwords out there, how the market's reacting to the buzzwords out there to see what's priced in. And then you have to use different time frames for execution. And again, it's a lot of information. So you have to wake up really, really early and prepare and get it done. Or you have to sell something, but I do it every day. There are a lot of people who don't want to get up at 4:45. So maybe they get up at 8 o'clock, which is still it's a little late, but it's okay. And they wait for my note to come out, so then they can go through 30 charts and they can go through the note and they could watch a video and then figure out what they want to do, what they want to push the keys on and execute on so they can make money. But you can't wake up at 9 o'clock. That's a little too late and say, all of a sudden, I'm just going to do what Red Dog's doing. No, you're never going to have the confidence or wherewithal. And, you might make money a few times, but you're not going to have a career doing that.
So why 445 specifically? I've asked you a lot of questions over the years. Why is it 445? Why isn't it 530? Why is it not 4?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's funny is I used to wake up a little bit later when we were in the city, before COVID. I used to go to the city, and I think I woke up later than 4:45. Everything always evolves. It's funny. Like I think I was on a 6 o'clock ferry that got me into the city at 6:20, and then or 6:30, and then I used to eat 3 eggs. Remember the 3 egg whites and cheese on it, everything scooped out bagel. That used to be my breakfast. Now my breakfast is a ginger shot and a green drink. So I'm getting older, you know. So anyway, but I used to wake up later, and the funny thing is now I'm a mile and a half away from my house, and I'm waking up at 4:45, and because I need all that time, you know, I need to be able to go in my sauna for 30 minutes. First thing I do, like I say, is I look at the overseas markets. I wake up. So let's go through the process, Michael. Okay, because it's not all about X's and O's. It's so I wake up. You know, one thing, by the way, you should do, which I think is help, is don't put your phone by your bed. You'll sleep better. If you put your phone by your bed, you might wake up and check the futures or check this, check that. You're asleep. Let the market do what it's going to do at night. There's nothing you can do about it unless you have limit orders in for crypto and for, you know, for the futures, which I don't trade futures because you can't get up at 4:45 and trade futures all night. You're never going to sleep and you're never going to be ready for a day. But anyway, so keep the phone downstairs. So this way you can wake up a little clearer, you know, a little bit easier without where's the futures, what's Europe doing, what's Asia doing. No, wake up, go downstairs, drink a big thing of water, pet your dog or do whatever. And then, hey, take your phone and say, or actually what I do now is I turn the sauna on, then I come upstairs and then I turn my phone on. I look at what happened overseas. So if I see Europe up and Asia up, I'm typically like, oh, our futures are probably up. If I see Europe up and Asia up and our futures down, I'm like, I wonder what happened here. So I kind of put together a little thing, and that's when I say good morning. You know, if you guys look, always around 4:45 to 5 o'clock, I'm like, good morning. And I try and put a rise and grind up there. Thanks to Mike, he's been making these awesome AI bull and bear rise and grinds. You know, the sauna and the cold plunge. Yeah, Mike, see if anyone comments. Anyone like the new AI comics, the new rise and grinds?
Yeah, what do you like? I think
Which is your favorite one?
Especially, I mean, I like them. I like the bull and bear when they're on adventures, like when they're climbing mountains and stuff, or skiing, or they're on the moon.
Right.
Okay, so well, I think let's talk about sleep. We've never talked about sleep before. Are you ever up at night worried about your positions?
Maybe I can count on my hands probably per year, you know, how many times I'm worried. That means I probably have a little too much on. So if you're ever really worried about your positions at night, then chances are you're probably out, you're too long, you're too short, which sometimes my friends who make the most money in the market, they say, you know, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not making big money. But, you know, not everyone can make big money. So, and big money is different for everyone. You know, someone's $10,000 a month could be someone's $100,000 a month. Someone's $5,000 a month could be someone's $200,000. That's why I talk in tier systems. So I don't even remember what the question you just asked me, but you said, what, sleep?
Yeah. Are you ever up at night worried about positions?
Sometimes I know if I you know, I could just, my little field trading antennas know that, you know, things just don't feel right. I have too much going on. I get a little bit edgy and I wake up a few times. So there were times that I've definitely, you know, lost a little sleep, or I was very, I was anxious waiting for the next day. But I would say, again, 10 times a year that's the case, you know, where I'm really like waking up a little bit throughout the night. But I don't trade futures because I really, you know, and I go to sleep. I probably go to sleep. Everyone asks me, oh, right, what time? I go to sleep at around 10 o'clock, you know. Sometimes it depends on the day. If it's Thursday or Friday and I had a few beverages, I fall asleep first on the couch around 9 o'clock. And my wife, you know, go upstairs. And you know, that ever happened to you? You know, where you fall asleep on the couch and, you know, the first half an hour, no one touch someone when they're sleeping for a half hour. They'll never wake up. But after an hour, oh, go upstairs. Your back's going to hurt. So, but I would say my average time I go to sleep is around 10 o'clock. And sometimes if I'm too caught up in a show, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you're watching Netflix on your phone in your bed, and you're like, I need one more episode, and all of a sudden it's like 11:45 at night, and you're like, sugar, honey, iced tea, I got to be up, you know, at 4:30, 4:45. So there are sometimes that I'm up a little bit later, you know, because I'm into a show. There are a lot of good shows out there, by the way, and then but that's not good for you. So yeah, I think, you know, usually, so if I go to sleep at 10, I have 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get about 6 hours of sleep a night.
Okay, let's talk about the flip side of being worried too much. Do you ever find yourself being too relaxed?
No, Not really. By the way, back scratchers are great. Red Pup got this from me a while ago. And I used to take my pen and I used to go like this. And he watched. That's a good, by the way, a good, not to employee. He was an employee. If you watch what someone does and you think you could help them do it better, it's a good thing to do. Anyway, let's talk again, Mike. So what was your question?
Do you ever feel too relaxed? Does Red Dog ever go on cruise control and maybe get a little too loosey-goosey with the trading?
Usually the virtual trading floor knows. Like if they see me in a lot of positions because we've been in a trend for like 2 months, they start to say, hey, Red Dog, you realize you're in like 14 positions and you're in 20 sets of options. And I'm like, well, the trend is above the 821 day. It's moving along. Thank you for pointing that out, because usually it goes for a month. It can go for 2 months. It can go for if it does, like in 2020, we were trending for so long. I think a lot of people had their best years. At one point, I had like 30 positions on and like 30 options, and I was like, "How do you trade all those positions?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trading my P&L." Like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, "Well, market goes up. I look down my position screen. If things aren't up that I have, I take some off because it just showed relative weakness. Market goes down for an hour, and things stay the same, and some things are up. I add to them, so I would be trading my P&L through all my positions because it's hard to track all the positions. But I did a lot of work, that morning and that week to put on the positions. There was a reason for all of them. And then you have times when you're below the 821 day, like 2022, and I'm in nothing. I'm sitting here at X amount of buying power for all 4 accounts, and I'm looking for a small little Red Dog reversal or each cell setup and making less, but I'm also out of the way. So usually, some could use me as a way if they see that I have a lot going on. Like here, let's go to the chart for 1 second. Let's go to I'm going to present here. Let's go to share screen. Share screen. Let's see if I can do this. Red Dog's really not good at technology. But okay, Redler. Which one? Oh, the SPY. How do we do? Hold on. What do you see? You see the SPYs?
Yeah, we see.
Oh, there it is. So if you look here, okay, on October 27th, okay, it was basically from what was this, 438 in the SPYs down to 409. So we dropped about 30 handles or so. And if you remember, this 420 was like a big deal. So when we took back this 8-day moving average, which, Mike, how many evergreen videos do you have about the 821 day on that you could Google anywhere?
We got like 7,000 of them. We have articles, we have videos, we have ebooks, we have courses.
All about the 821 day moving. It's not that interesting, but it's the truth. Here you're below, right? Remember this inside wedge? We broke below the moving averages, 432. You're out. 421. You're in. You just saved yourself whatever that was. Besides the brain power here too, below the 821 day. This was what, 445. It was all the way below until here. So there's ways to use the moving averages for trends. So PS, you had this move up, and then you tested the 8-day, and somewhere around here, everyone's like, Red Dog, you're getting complacent. You have all these positions on. I'm like, well, everyone talks about the Mag 7. I'm in those, but now you have the small caps going on. You have some banks working. You have some bios working. You have this, and if things are working, you want to put money to work when things are working. Doesn't mean I'm complacent. Doesn't mean I'm throwing darts against the wall. It's just that's what the trend is. Even today, like I had a little bit of my little Red Dog senses were going up. I put in this chart of the SPYs. I'm like, I'm buying some 475 puts because we have another ascending channel here. I'm like, I'm not sure if a day like this is going to happen where we get a shot across the bow in the first week of the new year, or we're going to continue to ride this little frozen rope, what they call it. And then today, having those 475 puts on, really helped. And now what did we do? We tested the 8-day. So this trend is still intact. You had a few gut checks. You had a gut check here. Okay, you had a gut check here, a gut check here. And, at this point, we'll see what happens. But, by me having a lot of positions on doesn't mean I'm being complacent. It means I'm trying to let the market make me money. If I'm ever under trading, where sometimes I under trade where things just don't look like compelling. Compelling is a big word for me. When something's compelling, I'll try and do it. If something's special, I try and stay with it. You know, and in good markets, those are things that can make you money. I remember like last year, they're like, Red Dog, is it compelling? I'm like, no. Like, is it fine? Is it special? I'm like, no. Like, why are you in? I'm like, it's fine. Right now, the market's only giving us little things that are fine. So I changed my, you know, my specifics on what I was in because of the market environment. But anyway, here we are. I'll have the SPY chart up. You know, as of right now, the low here of the day, just for today, is 473.30. So we held the 8-day, and we'll see. You know, does this mean we go sideways again for a little bit as we head into the first week of the year? It's going to be hard to tell. So I'm trying to have a lot of different types of option strategies on, so we don't get blasted. So I'm not being complacent today by having all these options. I have different reasons for different things that I'm doing, and different strikes and different, you know, expirations. So the mind is always working.
Okay. All right. So there's a question I've had for a long time, because like I edit Scott's newsletter in the morning, and I can see when he has like 2 positions and when he has like 8,000. At a certain point, like, what's the difference between owning a whole bunch of different stocks and just owning the Qs?
Well, you're hoping that you're owning the best technology stocks instead of the Qs. You're hoping that when the Qs go sideways, you're in things that are breaking out, having great chart patterns, making higher lows and higher highs, and you're finding the relative strength. I'm a relative strength trader. You know, sometimes if I feel like the Qs are going up, I'll have the Qs also. Or sometimes when I'm lost and I think the market's going to go up, I'll have the Qs instead. Or usually I use the Qs when we're in some kind of crazy volatile corrective phase. I'll trade the Qs and the SPYs because they're the most liquid. And then once I feel like we found the bottom, then I'll look to see what's showing the best relative strength, and then I'll trade those names with the sector. But it's our job as traders to find what's looking best within a market based on the relative strength or relative weakness. And if you're good at shorting, you can do it the other way also. But you know, that's why we have a go-to list. I use a go-to list of 40 names that, you know, use patterns so I could have my proper entries and use the right tier system.
Okay, so let's talk about this go-to list. How does a name make it on there, and when do you know when to kick them off?
Well, you know, usually it's the best like 30 to 40 names. Like, here, let's see something for a second. Let's see if I even have this. Hold on. Tell me. Oh, you know, let's share screen for 1 second. Share screen. Let's go present. Share screen. Let's do this again. Share screen. Boom. Okay. So, you know, as you said, like, you write the note. Okay. So I'm gonna put up an example of my note. Okay, to show like how we go down the go-to list, because we also, you know, that it also helps me trade. It helps me, like you say, I get prepared. By me doing my 35 charts, it's making me a better trader. By me writing a note, it's reinforcing the things that I'm thinking about. So when things trade, I could react and go with it. A lot of guys out there, the best, like, people love being a mentor to younger traders because they're teaching them and they're relearning things, and they're also, you know, then if they say, hey, this is what you should be doing, they then can be accountable to it and do it as well. So let me just see before I don't want you guys to read every one of my emails.
Scott, do you want me to pull up the morning note on the screen?
And I got it. Come on, Mikey. I'm pretty good at this now. Can you see it?
No, we still have the SPY chart. No, you need to
Really? It's in that screen now. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me try one more time, and then you can pull it up because you're. Hold on. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Here you go. Okay, so there's the morning note, right? Can you guys see it yet? This is day one of me and Mike, you know, figuring it out. So, you know, we're going with the flow. We don't have a 100-person production team. I don't have a teleprompter. I'm sitting in Short Hills having a beer with you guys, trying to let you guys figure out the process and how we go about it, right? So, do you guys see it now?
Yep, we can see it. We're good.
Right. So this is the note that goes out every day around 8:15. I start working on it typically around right when I'm done with the 6:30 club around 6:50. I make about 35 charts. I put language on all of them, and it's always the same order. First, I go into a little macro, like what happened overnight, what maybe we're looking at for next week, what's out there on the macro. And then I always do the sectors first. So you do, the SPYs, the Qs, the IWM, the XLF. Those are always on there. Sometimes XLE's on there. Sometimes, the bios are on there. Sometimes ARC's on there. It kind of all depends, if there's another sector in play. But the SPYs and the Qs and the IWM and the S&P cash is always on there because they're like the backbone of the market. Then next we go with you always, big cap tech names, which remember them? I couldn't remember FANG this morning. I don't know. I was tired. And the big seven. So it's always like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Tesla, Netflix. So those are always on there. I always have some kind of plan to go after them in one way or another or not for the day. And then next is like the semis. So, NVIDIA has been one of the kings of the semis, and same thing, hasn't been easy to trade the past 2 months. There are things to do, but there's no traction. A tight wedge is formed in order to see 505, which is like the breakout area. It's got to get about 499.82 where it was rejected this morning. And then I said a break of 488 or a close blow gets choppier, and that's actually where it held today. So if I put a chart up of NVIDIA, you'll see it failed at 499 and it bottomed at 488. So again, another range trade. And then from there, you have AMD, Avago, ARM. These are the ones on my go-to list. ARM 3-4 weeks ago wasn't on there until it started acting better. So you asked me about how does something get on the go-to list. It's got to start acting special. It's got to start paying you for being involved and massaging it, where you could buy dips, add it through price points, and continue it. So I can get to that after. And then quick hits are usually some one-offs that are trading big volume, whether like now we're looking at some January effect names because it's December 29th. Sometimes it's earnings plays with big pro earnings gaps. We talk about that. Sometimes it's, just whatever remember when like sometimes the Chinese names come on and I put them on quick hits. Sometimes it was the meme stocks, whether it was, GameStop and AMC and those guys. And then, these crazy, like I always try and whatever's moving, whatever could pay you for being right, I try and have on my go-to list. So I need to do quick hits. And then I always talk a little bit gold and then the TLT, which has been something to watch. Then Bitcoin's always on there. And then I kind of go into my trading focus. And then he shows my positions, and then a little bit about the calendar. And every day, that's the blueprint. That's the go-to list. That's the note that people know is coming out. And it changes a little bit every day. The language changes every day. But, the approach is different every day depending on what's happening. So if you look at real quick at the go-to list, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this morning I had 25 charts. It's a Friday. Usually Fridays are a little bit more relaxed.
Okay, Scott. All right, we're going to pull back a little bit and think big picture about the year we just had. So in terms of your own trading, what were you most happy with this year and what were you least happy with this year?
It's funny. I think Greta does that all the time. She's like, what grade would you give yourself for the week or for wherever it is? I would say, what grade would I give myself for the year? I'd give myself a B-. But I would say that, you posted that chart of all the indices and, what they're up. And I know we were at a big trader dinner. There was like 40 traders that have been trading since like 1997. Some huge futures traders, some huge gold traders, momentum guys, reversion to the mean guys, shorts, longs. And out of the 40 guys, everyone was upset. Like nobody was like, I'm like, who killed it this year? Raise your hand. And nobody said yes. I'm like, who's having their average year? Some people I'm like, who's having their 2 times their average year? Who's having less? So a lot of them like this. I'm like, who's fighting to get green again? I'm like, and these were like 40 of the best traders out there. And I was like, you know what, guys, look around. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Wait, who said that? No. It's a bad, but okay, I'm not gonna get into that whole thing. But it just was one of those years that, like you said, you came into the year, everybody said we're going into a recession. Everybody said we're going to be in a bear market. Everyone said we had to test the lows. And we took off out of the gate for the first quarter where lots of shorts got run over. it took a little time to be comfortable to buy dips and get in a portfolio approach. And then by the time, right here, like by the time everyone got bullish over the summer, I don't have the SPYs up. I can put that up real quickly with you guys.
Let me ask everybody in the chat, especially on YouTube. The chat is raging. How would you grade your own trading? Like, give yourself an A if you had an amazing year, an F if you blew it. So everybody on YouTube, especially, grade yourself.
Grade the type of year you thought it was trading, and then grade yourself. So I would say trading wise, I would think, to be honest, I think it was like a C, and I did a little bit better. I gave myself a B minus. I don't think it was an A trading year. It was an A year if you put money to work every single month in an S&P fund for your 401k, your son's 529. That was an A. But trading wise, it was hard to find follow through. When they looked like shorts, they friggin' rallied them, and they finally got you comfortable. They sent a curveball. To me, I felt like this was a C trading year. So tell me what everyone's saying.
Yeah, I'm popping them on the screen. So we have a C, a B, a C, a B. Dunster gives himself an A+. Beverly gives herself a D. Lawrence gives himself a C. So it does seem like most people didn't have their best year. So
well,
Scott,
tell them, do they think it was their fault or was it the market's fault? Because that's, like there are a lot of videos I watch, like sometimes, you have to first, if you take accountability and say it's my fault, like then you realize what you did wrong, and then you can make changes, and then you could, approach the market, either which way. So there were some things that were probably my fault, but then there were just some things that I would do again 25 times, and the market just didn't reward you for it.
Okay, so Scott, so how do you?
Josh Brown's fault.
Okay, all right. Let's be nice. Josh Brown's
fault.
Okay, so how do you grade the year in terms of like tradability?
I think there were pockets that there were some things to make good money on, but there were definitely a lot of like potholes that caught you. Like let's just go back to one of them. I can remember 4 situations where it was almost like you got an 11 versus 6, and in blackjack, what are you supposed to do with an 11 versus 6? Have everyone write it. 11 versus 6. What do you do in blackjack?
All right. I don't know. I don't know. So there's like a 20-second delay between when we ask things and when people hear them. I don't know how many blackjack fans we have. I would ask.
Or if you're playing Texas Hold'em, order a drink. All right. So we're not going to talk blackjack.
All right. So I think most people acknowledge that.
So I'm going to say this. So it was going into the rebalance. I think we were right here on the. Let's go to. Hold on. Let me put this up for a second. Let's go to the cues. So I remember it really, right, Scott, really well.
You gotta hit the present button again.
Oh, I'm getting there. Okay. Share screen. Cues. Okay. Share. So there are the cues. So I don't know who remembers, but it was somewhere. Or it could have been around like right here. Was it December 8th? When was the rebalance week? I think the rebalance week was
December 8th or something like that, I think.
Was it December 8th that was the actual rebalance week, or was it the 15th?
I seem to remember it like ending on a Friday.
Well, it ended on a Friday, but we got news like the week before. So I think it happened. I think this is December 8th. So on this day, okay, like the cues look good. We just repaired this bar. I think it was this day. I'm not 100% sure. And all I know is that like Microsoft looked good, Apple looked good, Amazon looked good, Google looked good, NVIDIA looked like it was ready to go. So I had, I didn't go with the cues. Like you said, sometimes you got to go with the cues. I felt as if we were about to go after this high here. And all of a sudden the news happened where, they were, all these funds weren't allowed to up their percentages of the Mag 7. They had to reduce it because they were too concentrated. And that Monday, every one of those stocks were down huge, and the Qs went up 3 points. So that was like one of those days where I lost like $25,000 plus, and the market went up, and I wanted to be long, and I was not in 2 stocks, I was in 7 stocks, and all 7 stocks happened to be down that day, and they were the problem that week.
So Scott, was like that was that, I know there was like an odd day where the Qs were up and
the Monday morning,
and the Magnificent Seven were down.
Yes,
which
that
seemed,
was the day.
Which seemed
Which,
quite odd.
right, you're going with what's working for the year, and you're going for a move in tech, and then you go with the 7 tech names. And then I know a lot of people actually start shorting the Qs because they thought the Mag 7 was going to get sold, and the Qs went up, so they lost short the Qs, and they lost long the Mag 7, and that day was a day from hell, and on TV they're ranting and raving how awesome it is. Everything is awesome. No, it wasn't awesome that day. It sucked. And every trader knew what was happening, but that just goes with the smoke and mirrors of how easy this year was based on the S&P being up 20+% and the Qs being up 50+%. It wasn't that easy. Who remembers this day in the video? I remember this day in the video. I was long a ton. Okay, I think it was this day when everyone thought we broke above 504, 505. I was the longest I've been in a while, thinking we're not going to have a triple top. And then that little boutique firm, wherever that little boutique firm came out, and I was sitting there doing the 630 club, and all of a sudden they started it started going down. I'm like, what's out there in the video? And the video went down $10, that day, and I lost a lot of money, but it was the right thing to do. It looked like it was breaking out, put risk on, and then that happened, and then thank goodness, this gave you a little red dog reversal where it went above that high, and you had a way out, and then boom, look at that day. And now we've rebuilt all the way. And even today, look at today. Today in the video, what a sugar honey iced tea show. It looked like it was ready to go, right? Looked like it was ready to go. I was long the stock overnight. I sold some. We get up to here. All of a sudden, it's at $4.99. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to have enough, but if new money comes in and this takes out 504, 505, it's going to 5.25, 550. I need to be in that. So I reduced my shares. I put on a big call spread, which the virtual trading floor saw, a 505 by 530. All of a sudden, market starts to come in. I sell my shares, and I'm like, I'm in the call spread, and right there, my call spread was down 30%, just like that. So thank goodness Red Dog did something smart. When we came all the way down to this 488, which was down here, okay, that's where I came up with that 488. Was somewhere around here. This was 488, and this was 480-ish. That was the bottom of that, and I was here. I bought back some of the calls that I had sold, to make me more long the front side of the 505s. And then when I went to change my car, and I came back, all of a sudden the video's green. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I resold, and I just managed the trade. All you can do is manage the trade. And now they just cleaned out all these people. But this is pretty predatory action. Like, it had to go down all the way to 488 and get all these people out of it stops him to then get back up here that know that they don't want to buy. So they're probably like, I'm not buying this again. And then that's when it goes. That's the kind of year it's been. Even when let's go to Tesla for a second. When Tesla looked the worst, you guys remember this day, December 13th? It was lagging, looked like a head and shoulders top. It went below 231. Everyone was trying to buy it right here. I know I was trying to buy it for it to break out. And then it failed, and it broke below 231, went to 228, reclaimed 231, and that turned into the best 2-day trade in Tesla. And then it looked good again, and all of a sudden you had another little red dog reversal to the sell side. At least it broke above this and gave you a reduce into the 265, failed to hold 263, and then came down.
Okay, all right. Let's pull back a little bit, Scott.
First of all, let's pull back, but let's have one more beer. I'm allowed to have 2 beers only before 5. Did anyone else have a beer yet? Michael?
No beer today. I have coffee. Okay, so Scott, what were you happiest with this year in terms of the market or your performance?
What was I happiest with? Just the ability to come back. I think if you look at the chart of the SPYs, I don't know if any of you remember, actually, I came back. I went to Ohio State. My godson goes to Ohio State. And I remember this like it was, I don't remember exactly when you guys could. and we were coming in. It was we started grinding lower here, and on the plane home, you guys know I'm a little bit of a Rocky fan, but anyway, just a little bit. And I'm watching Creed. I haven't watched Creed in a while. I watch a lot of tributes to the different Rockies that like 15, 20-minute videos that I run to or whatever in the sauna. And all of a sudden, they start to do this. I watched Creed, the movie, and he's like, one punch, one round, move forward. One punch, one round, move forward. And I was watching it. I'm like, one trade, right choice, net money. And I was like thinking about it, and it kind of like got me like juiced. And I'm like, I don't care that I'm down almost $200,000, which I was, and I was feeling like crap. Even though I pulled the summer top here, it was still for some reason really hard. And I lost a lot of paper cuts, and then I lost a lot of money on this meta day. There was a meta day we could talk about. And then I remember it was riding around here. And then all of a sudden, I started making money one day, another day, another day. And everyone's like, one round, one punch, one setup. And it was like I united Twitter. Everyone was doing it. And that's how you get out of a rut. You don't think about being down 200 grand. You're not trying to make 200 grand in 2 days. You're making 7, you're making 12, you're making 5, you're making 15. Then all of a sudden you're making 30. Like, holy cow, I'm at 120. And then, maybe you have to hover a little bit, and then you're making a little bit. So PS, I'm pretty much right back to my high water mark. So I could, I could start the year on a good note where I can get a check for the first quarter. But down in this spot, I was like, this is like a freaking big rut. So how do you build self-esteem? It's by doing hard things. How do you, feel joy and happiness by proving to yourself that you could do things that aren't easy. And, a lot of traders that don't get paid, a salary or a big, what kind of, whatever kind of plan, whether it's health insurance, whether it's, you got to make money. And every month you got to make money. So if you're in a rut for a month and you can't get a check for a month, you could either be like, woe is me, or you could say, okay, next trade, execute with the right frame of mind, net money, move forward. And then all of a sudden you're back, you're green, you're making money, you're feeling good. And then you're making bigger money. And then you're like, wow, just worked myself out of a pretty big rut. I've been in ruts before. And sometimes someone who's never been in a rut, they might not know how to get out of it. I've been doing it since 1998. I got out of a pretty big rut. So, it proves you can. And then when things are great, don't get too happy, because that's when you lose your discipline, and that's when you make some impulsive decisions, and that's how you lose money. That's hard to make when, you're in the moment.
Okay. So what do you want to do better in 2024?
What do I want to do better? Sometimes I've said this before, like I write a note. I do the 6:30 club. I do a morning call at 8:15. And like you said, the go-to list, I have about 35 names. Sometimes I only trade like 5 of them. Sometimes I trade more of them. Sometimes I missed out on this Avago trade because it wasn't really a name that I trade very well. I listed it on the note right around 925. And if it were to go through 999 and this whole big thing happened, everybody's like, Ray Dog, you're the man. Thank you so much. Made so much money here, made so much money there. Da, da, da. And I didn't play this. I missed the move. I was, the offensive coordinator for the move, but I was focused on NVIDIA or focused on AMD, which was pretty good, and I missed it. And I want to take more of the setups that I think are A setups versus just putting them out there. So sometimes again, I'll say there's nothing going on, but then I trade and lose money anyway. I need to. I want to. When I write and trade the same, that's when I'm the happiest. Or when I'm even trading a little bit better than I'm writing, I'm very happy. But when I'm writing better than I'm executing, then I know, I'm giving myself a lower grade because the things that I'm writing about are working, and I either had too many shares, I bought one too many higher highs, I took too many home, I didn't give it enough time, and that means I approached it poorly, and I could do it better. So I like to write and trade at the same level.
Okay, so does the market's performance tie into how you feel about your trading? Because, it's like if you have like an okay, let's just say you have an okay month, but the market ripped like crazy. Like, do you feel like you missed out, or are you happy with what you had?
It depends. Is there a pain trade? How many days was it up in a row? Did it go up 4 days, rest 2 days, go up another 3 days, or did it go up 8 days in a row where you held it for 3 days, you started shorting it on the fourth day, and then you lose money on the fifth and sixth day of what you were long, and like, holy cow, it's longness. So there are certain times when you feel like you didn't hold the trade long enough. So that makes me upset. There's certain times when just because you didn't hold the trade long enough, you start shorting it and revenging it, and then you didn't make on what you were long, and you start losing on what you're short. I'm sure there's some guys out there that did that. So sometimes in my note, I'm like, I wouldn't buy it here, but it doesn't mean it's an easy short. Meaning, like, you already missed the setup and the extension of it, but just because you missed it doesn't mean you short it, because it could go up a bunch more days. So it all depends. Like, again, like, go back to this year. I'm sure everyone's going to be going to New Year's Eve parties. Woohoo! Or maybe you're old like me, you don't go to New Year's Eve parties anymore. I used to throw New Year's Eve parties. That's how I paid my way through college. But anyway, I'm going to my best friend's house in Westchester with 4 families, so it's different, which is cool. We'll play cornhole. But anyway, everyone, people who are not in the market probably think you crushed it. Wow, like whether they're a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a policeman, they're all going to get their statements and be like, wow, holy cow, I won a lot of money this year, because they're in the every month 401k type of job, and they don't trade for a living. So there are times when the market looks better than it trades based on a trader's approach. And granted, I'm like, wait, maybe my approach is bad, but then when I talk to so many different guys that do so many different things, I just could see sometimes it's just a tricky environment. So I would just have gratitude and say, hey, could I have done things different? And if you couldn't, and if you would do the same trade 5 times again, then it's just bad situation. You could go into, how about this? You guys didn't like the blackjack analogy, so let's talk about poker. So you're playing Texas Hold'em and you get a pair of queens. What do? You go in, pair of queens, and then it's not your fault if someone else next to you has a pair of kings, or the dealer has, ace king and then turns over 2 or 2 queens or king, whatever it is. If you go with the right situation under the right circumstances, over time you're gonna win. If you're in blackjack and if you're doubling down on a 6 versus 6, you might get lucky once, but chances are you're gonna bust, and there's no reason to ever do that. So there are some times in the market where it's just not worth it to do anything. So that's when you have to have your self-control. You got to say, hey, I'm just chilling out here, and then it doesn't matter what the market does, because there's no good setup.
Okay, so Scott, let's take some questions from our friends in the audience. And guys, comment what is your favorite stock of 2024? Like, just put in the comments.
And then I'll post a trade. I'll post a chart if you do that.
Okay. Okay, so Scott, we have. So you good for questions now, Scott?
Of course, always good for questions. I'm just
right.
looking at what's happening in the market, because I'm.
Okay, yeah. So Scott is actually trading, and while we're doing this, which is always fun. Okay, so Dunster.
Market's open. I'm sure all these guys are trading.
Okay,
I like this thing. Here.
Okay, Dunster is asking, AI was the flavor of 2023. What will be the flavor of 2024? And I'm gonna flash on screen like the ideas people are sharing. So Scott, what's the big story in 2024?
I don't know yet. We'll see how it evolves. Right now, they're saying the Fed's going to cut 5 times. I don't see it. If all of a sudden we have a rally for the first month, and the S&P's at 4,900 or at 5,000, I just don't know how they're going to cut. I think the street's ahead too far ahead. So maybe the story is how the economy's not so bad, and they don't cut as much, and then all of a sudden the TLTs go lower, and here's I want to put up the double top concept that people are talking about. Hold on, let's go to here. I honestly don't. Sometimes I have like a thesis or narrative or at this point. Last year, the narrative was we're going into a recession. We're going to test the lows of 2022. That was right around, the October lows, right? We came in right here. And if I remember, everyone was saying we're going to test the 34.91 lows. And then all of a sudden, this was the day, not this day, actually, this was the day that, actually, no, it was down here. It was right around January, actually, no, it was right this day, January 23rd is when, kind of changed a little bit. And then he did have a retest, but, actually, no, this is it's crazy when you look back. You see the descending trend line, and broke above, went a little bit below, came back and wrote it. So the narrative last year was a retest of 34.91. The narrative this year is that we've normalized, right? They've raised rates to slow down the economy. We're not overbidding for houses. Hopefully, eggs are not going to be at $6 ever again. Gas is going to be at $5, and we should be able to handle a 3.5 to 4.2% interest rate economy in a normal world. We don't know what a normal world is right now. It's not normal when something like October 7th happens. It's not normal when something like Russia invades Ukraine. Like, who is China going to invade Taiwan, and what happens there? I don't know. That could be something. Presidents, right? Are we going to Biden or Trump again? These are just things that people are trying to create some narratives around. I don't really have much of a narrative around any of it. My narrative is how are we going to trade right now? We this weekly candle broke to the upside. We've been up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. The bears are open for a double top at 48.18. We didn't quite get there. Where we got to? We went to 47.93. Are we going to kiss it and retrace back to the 8-day? Or are we going to kiss it, hold, and break through it? That's my narrative. Is AI here to stay? Of course. There's so many different ways to use it. Michael might not have a job in like 3 months. I might just have AI edit my stuff. No kidding. No, he's so handsome.
Do you want to, Scott? do you want to hear a secret?
Sure.
I will reveal something because Scott doesn't even know this himself.
What?
AI has been editing the note for about 4 or 5 months now.
How does it do it?
So basically, I use ChatGPT to basically clean up all the manual stuff that's really tedious, like all the double periods, double spaces.
I put a double period when I want you to see that. No kidding.
But
with 5 exclamation points means something.
I will say this about AI. AI is better than a crappy employee or intern that doesn't know anything. That's and if you're good.
Tell us how you really feel.
I would much listen. I've had a number of interns, junior employees over the years. Some of them are amazing, but a lot of them, AI is 100 times better. Though AI is still very glitchy, still a lot of problems, especially with financial stuff. But it does make life a lot easier in many things.
Yeah, someone asked me what do I think. I think it's going to take away a lot of mid-level jobs. I would think like a paralegal. Your job is numbered. Right? Why can't a lawyer just say, hey, give me 20 cases where this, and this happened, and it'll scour it in 9 seconds. There'll be a list of 20 cases where, some police officer did this and they got off for that, or some company did this and boom. Instead of, paralegals going through film, finding the cases, doing the research. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of middlemen. But that's efficiency. That's life. That's what happens. We've been getting more efficient and more efficient and more efficient every few years in all different types of ways. Yeah. So AI, we'll have to figure out how to use it to be more efficient.
Yeah, I think people should also remember that we heard the exact same things in the late 90s, that the internet was going to replace lawyers and accountants. There's probably 5 times as many lawyers as accountants now than there was in 2000. Nobody really knows, though. It does make life a lot easier in some ways.
Well, I'll say, listen, what you got to do is add value. If you're a person that has a personality and adds value, you'll always find a job. So figure out how you could add value, figure out what you could do, and you're going to have a job. Nobody can replace your job as a trader. Yes, there's a lot of algorithmic traders out there. Our CEO made his gazillions having black boxes. But the bottom line is, if a stock is going to go from 120 to 150, what does it have to get through? 130, 135, 140 to get to 150. How does it get there? That's our job to figure out, and that's your job and my job, and how to participate with it to get to there. Okay, so granted, maybe there'll be computers trading it, or there'll be less volume, but the stocks are, if a stock's can go from 200 to 150, it's got to go through 190, 180, 170. Might bounce back up to 180 before it goes through 170 to 160. So it's our job to figure out the movement, and every stock has a different type of movement. So it's our eyes watching it and trading it. If there's a lot of fake outs, that's why I taught you the red dog reversal. A lot of times they'll go below a level and make you believe it's going to be weak, and then it reclaims that level, and then the bulls won. Sometimes they'll go above the level. Like if you look here in Tesla, it went above this level and failed. If it went above it and stayed, we could have seen 278. It went above it and failed. Okay, so the algos squeezed the shorts and made money, here. But we saw that. You knew 263 was the prior high. Gets above and stay above. Maybe it has momentum to 268. Went above and failed. You have to know the action area. You have to know where the rubber matches. You have to know where you can make money, and you want to jump on the side that wins. Okay, I could do much better jumping on the losing side or the bear side. I'd rather just get out of the way. So some people on the virtual trading floor just say, when I'm in something and I get out of it, they just get short because it's not going up, because I know when things aren't going up usually. So anyway, knowing your levels, if this was going to go to 268, it should have held 263. If this was going to go down to 242, it should not have held 247 for now. And if in order to get to 247, it had to get below yesterday's low of 252, and it opened up $2. So knowing where things are and what they have to do to get to certain places, it's our job to embrace it and go with it and not complain about how long it takes, because chances are it's about your share size and your patience. So AI, can AI come up with chart patterns and give you throw out like, hey, buy this here. It's at a 52-week high. It might go above it. You bought it and come back below 50 cents and you sell it, go back above it and then go, so I think if you add value in your personality, AI is not taking your job. So figure out how you could add value. And if you're trading, listen, I remember with the black boxes, say, oh, is it going to go against technical analysis? And I'm like, no, because there are that many more people looking at a level that hasn't been broken for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks. So when it does, and it gets above and holds above, everyone's going to be on it. So you just got to know what it means. So if you know what something means, then you could also participate and go along for the ride. Anyway, my 3 cents. I think I offer 3 cents, not 2 cents.
Yeah, Scott, I think we should talk a little bit about gold, because gold. So I've noticed over the years that Scott tends to get very interested in gold once or twice a year. So let's pull up that gold chart and see what's going on, Scott.
Yes, people have. Sometimes I laugh with people. I'm like, gold is like when the world ends, people want to have gold. I'm like, why? So they can hit somebody over the head and steal their 6-pack and food? Because what the hell is gold going to do if the world's going to end? But anyway, there is a value for gold. It's obviously an inflation hedge, or this or that, whatever it is. I use moving averages. I use charts, and I know a lot of friends who are asset allocators that put a certain percentage into gold, physical or whatever it is. Bottom line is, look where GLD is. Look at that, healthy 8th day today. Isn't that nice? Which I'm happy about. So this is your daily chart. 190, 136, 192, couldn't get above. And it's still trending really well. If you guys remember on Twitter, I posted that I was buying January calls here, which was a nice pullback. I don't trade GLD because it's got, I'd rather just do options because it's so erratic. But anyway, the reason why I like it is I don't even know what the narrative is, why it's besides the dollar going down maybe or whatever. Look at the weekly chart. Look how much accumulation has gone on in gold and how many times it's been at this 194, 193 level. So to me, it feels like it should go to 220. So you have the daily chart that held the 8th day. You have the weekly chart that's above all the moving averages. You have the monthly chart that, look at this cup and handle. I love cup and handle patterns. I usually love them more when it's Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Google, this, that. But look at this cup and handle. That means some countries and institutions and whoever it is has been accumulating gold this entire time. And look where it came from. You could go to further back, but so it's right here. Why is it here? I don't know. Is it because of? I'm not going to give you a narrative around the price because that's what smart people think they know what they're talking about. I'm just saying, look how it's right here. And if you want to do a measured move, sometimes they say, it could be from, 167 to 194, or something that's 30 handles, that's or 30 points, that's 220. So for me, I went out and I bought options on gold for January. Hopefully it has a move in January. If it doesn't, maybe I should have went out to March. I just didn't feel like paying for that much. Maybe you do a call spread for that. Looks really good. So gold to me looks like it's ready to go. I'm not a gold bug. I'm not saying the world's going to end for gold to go. I don't even know what they're going to get, why they get, what the narrative is going to be around it. But they always create a narrative around price, don't they? So for me, I'll just use my points of reference and figure it out. Because again, knowing your time frame, I know a lot of people that won't trade gold ever again. I'm like, why would you? Well, look at this breakout here, Red Dog. It looked like it closed above 191.36. It closed at 192.40 on December 1st. Was the biggest shit show, excuse my French, that gold had of the year. It was up, it was above the 8-day. It finally broke out. Everyone was like, it's going, and then everyone got trapped. That's horrible. I hate when stuff like that happens. And then it came all the way down to the 50-day. So it literally went from 192 down to 183. So if you were playing gold in December, not an asset allocator, could have ruined your entire month. So I get why you'd be pissed off. And then all of a sudden in January, it goes to 200. You're like, well, I was long at 192, and I got stopped out here and never went back to it because you were scarred. I get it. I've been scarred by stocks. But just remember, the stock, the commodity, the ETF, the country, whatever it is, doesn't remember when you owned it. Only you do. So you have to re-engage it. And at some point, it does what you thought it was going to do, but it just does it at a different time. And it's so hard for a trader to comprehend. Is the stock, the ETF, the commodity doesn't remember that you were long on this day and you got your clock cleaned down to this day. So if you're thinking now it held the 8-day and it's ready to go, you're allowed to buy it again. You're allowed to revisit it. Do it in a way that makes you feel comfortable, because if it does go, you're going to be so upset at yourself that you didn't go back to it just because you had it on the wrong day, the wrong time. I would do that trade 50 more times. It's an 11 versus 6. Usually you get a face card, or the dealer could, bust. You got a bad card and the dealer pulled a 4 and you lost your money. Or even this is even worse. This is like you split them. You had 2 7s and you split them, and then you get a 4 and a 4, and then you double down. You get a 6 and a 6, and you have shitty hands, and then he has a 4, gets a 10, and takes all your money. That's what looks like what happened right here down to the 50-day. But
okay, all right.
I do think gold's got a, it looks ready to go in some capacity.
Okay, all right. Let's put all the stock market stuff aside for a second. So Scott, as we close out the year, we're still standing somehow. What are you grateful for as we close out 2023?
What am I grateful for? I'm grateful, and I have gratitude for the things that I have. I have gratitude that my wife still loves me more sometimes than other times. That my son is a freshman, and I've been with him. I post a lot of pictures of Chase and my dog, because I find that's where my happy spot is, going for a run with my son or my dog and spending time with them. I'm teaching them what I've learned to try and make sure, not maybe Cadence, but Cadence comes with a whistle. I don't teach her that much. But Chase, my son, is a freshman in high school. Started playing lacrosse when he was 5, basketball when he was 6. He had a 5K world record when he was 8. All because I helped start him. I didn't force it on him, but I got it out of him. And I'm excited to watch to see how it goes on the next 4 years. I'm gratitude that I have the Short Hills office right here. So I get to watch. listen, if I worked for $1 billion hedge fund, which a lot of guys are, why don't you go work for $1 billion hedge fund? You could create alpha, this, that, you can make 30 million, 40 million. I'm like, to be honest, I don't really need that. I'm happy making what I make, being in town, being on the rec commission, building a turf field, knowing all the kids from coaching lacrosse. I'm happy for my sauna, my ice barrel, my hot tub. I literally have a Russian spa in my house, and it might be one of the smallest spas in houses in Short Hills, but one of the nicest houses in 1%. So where's that 1%? And I'm kind of happy that with just my mentality of, I've dealt with a lot. I've had, my friend died of leukemia when he was 30, so that was the first thing that made you realize that life is fragile. Then 2 years ago, I had a different friend that died when he was 50, of lung cancer. And if you have gratitude for the day and what you're doing, and you don't, get jealous of things that people have, in Short Hills is very easy. There's 50 minutes, whatever it is. So I have just gratitude that I'm in a spot where I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm helping others people do it. No one's throwing tomatoes at me in the street. A lot of times, now, people are like, hey, Red Dog. And I'm like, with Chase, and we were, in the airport, and 3 people came up to me like, oh my God, really? I'm with Chase is like, what are you, you LeBron? I'm like, no LeBron. I just, have a bunch of subscribers. He was in a recital. People came up to me. We were at the Jet game, and I was going to the porta potty, and as I'm coming out of the porta potty, 5 23-year-olds kind of went up to us. So it's just fun stuff. So, some of these videos, they say, if you're not making someone else's life better, you're wasting your time. I feel like, what we do here makes lives better for everyone else. And yes, do we make a little bit of money off it? We do. It's our job. We're up every day. But I feel like a lot of people are very happy with what they get from T3 Live, from me, from Michael, from our community. So if you could do what you like and add value and make money, I feel like it's a good spot to be in. And I'm 51 years old, so I'm trying to keep my mental state there, my fitness state there, and I think I could do this for another 10 years. And I get to be in Short Hills and watch Chase play basketball for 4 years. And if he plays in college, I might get a condo, and I'll send a car for my wife here and there. Anyway.
Okay. Speaking of cars, we need Oh wow! Michael just wrote, I had lung surgery and had a tumor removed, and in the hospital for 4 days. I need help changing the dressing at my house. So a lot of people out there do have it much harder than us. If we're lucky enough to be...
He sent you a very pretty nurse. Change the dressing. Michael, you have any phone numbers?
Of, not for this particular thing.
Okay. Sorry, but yeah, that was a bad joke.
Yeah, I think everybody out there, post what you are grateful for. We have a ton of people still watching on YouTube. What are you grateful for to close the year? Neve says, you are a fabulous person, Scott.
I'm okay. I want to hear about you. Again, think about just what you have and not what you need or want. Just, there was something in the gratitude. I watched a lot of gratitude videos, and it said we have gratitude for the ground that's underneath you, not, where you're looking to go to. So if you're happy where you are, then be happy when you get to your next spot, and celebrate all the spots along the way, not just the destination, because by the time you get to the destination, it's over. So the pursuit of your destination is your process, and your process has to be something you enjoy, so you feel the joy along the way.
Okay, it says who is absolutely one of our favorite people in the T3 community, said, grateful for having my 91-year-old parents still around. Snowflake has good health. Beverly Simmons, her husband, and a good life. Danny also an important part of our community. Scott's main focus is teaching others to fish. It's awesome and rare. Craig is alive and healthy. I can relate to that one. Okay, so let's have a little fun. So Scott, Scott just got a new car today. He picked it up, and
I'm sorry. I was supposed to get the Cybertruck, but it got so delayed that I went with Red Pup got me a Jeep with an electric top, help pick it out. So that lease was up. So I went and got another lease. It's actually a pretty funny story. It's a nice story. You want to post it yet or no?
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it on the screen. So if you have names for this vehicle, Scott needs a name for it. So if you have any name ideas, let us know in the chat. Sorry, Scott, go on.
So this is a funny story. I'm gonna tell you the story. So it was last week. So I got something in the mail saying, hey, your lease is up. They're doing a great special for EVs, for a lease. So I go and I take a picture of this. I take a picture of a white Jeep and a silver Jeep. And I like this one. So I send it to my wife, and Selena, I love her. And she writes back, she goes, is that a joke? I'm like, what do you mean is it a joke? She's like, that's a kid car. I'm like, it's not a kid car. I'm like, this is like a $75,000 car. It's a nice car. She goes, you can't get that car. I won't drive with you. I was like, really? You're going to be, really? You're going to go? I'm like, okay. So I get home. She's really mad. She's like, you can't get a red car with some decal on the hood. I'm like, it's not a decal. It's like nice. The Rubicon's a nice Jeep. She's like, you can't do it. I'm like, okay. So I call the guy up and I'm like, can I have the silver Jeep, please? Like my tail is between my legs. I'm going with the silver Jeep. And then we go to dinner with like 3 other couples that night. And I had a picture of all 3. And I was in a bad mood. I'm like, I want my red. I'm the red dog. I deserve a red Jeep. So I'm not going through midlife crisis. It was fun. Red dog likes to have fun. And I showed my friend Mitch. I showed him the 3. He's like, oh, get the red car. And then I showed the 2. And then 2 of the wives like, that red car is cool. And I look at my wife. I didn't say a word. I'm like, it's all right. The silver's fine. So I go to pick up the car today. To pick up the silver car, and the red car has a bow on it. And the salesman was so excited. He's like, your wife left 15 messages for me saying you're allowed to get the red car, and you have to get the red car if she feels so bad. This is your Christmas present. So I went there thinking I was going to get the silver car, and she switched it up for the red car. Didn't let me know all week, and then now I have the red Rubicon. That's my story. Anyway, if you have some names for the car.
Yeah, if you have names for the car, please post them in the chat. So far, we have red and Jeep Renegade, but I feel sorry for this car salesman who's sort of getting in the middle of a marital dispute.
Told him at 6 o'clock, I'm like, I'm so sorry. My wife hates it. She says, I can't have red. It's a kid car. And she's like, fine, I understand. This has happened 100 times. I'm a Jeep salesman. And then that was it. And then that night happened. And then he said that she called like 20 times over the weekend. Don't do the paperwork. Don't do the paperwork. She didn't tell me. And I went today. He was so excited. He's like, your wife called and the red car is yours. I did all the paperwork. And then, that was just nice. Just a funny story.
So you ended up with the car you wanted, correct?
I did. It's in the park. It's in the lot. I got it right now. That's why I'm only drinking 2 beers, because I have to drive it in an hour. It's all you're allowed. 2 beers in 2 hours.
Okay. All right. So we
you
are.
Con? I don't like the word con, just because I hate con artists. I hate friggin' Jordan Belfort, but anyway. I don't like Dave Portnoy either, but I won't say anything. I'll fight him if you guys want to put up a fight between me and Portnoy in front of Elon and Musk. Elon.
Okay.
Anyway,
Scott, he doesn't want to say anything, but he will fight them. He will fight him if he sees them. Okay, guys. So very quickly, let me. Whoops. Hold on. I got to screen share again. So we have some bills to pay at T3.
Ooh, we do.
Okay, guys. So if you want to get all of Scott's ideas for 2024, go to t3live.com/outlook, t3live.com/outlook. You can get Scott's market outlook report with his top ideas for 2024. GLD was one of them, but if you want the whole game plan, t3live.com/outlook. If you want ideas to start the new year with, this is where you go. t3live.com/outlook. We finished it off last week. You can download it and read it tonight if you want it. So again, t3live.com/outlook with all of Scott's predictions, all that stuff. So we hope you visit there to pick it up today. So Scott, do you have any final words for all the beautiful people out there still watching after 73 minutes.
Well, thank you for tuning in. You must really, have watched over the years and just get a little humor out of the personalities that we are. I will say that, listen, the Outlook's it's a great product. I've been doing it for 10 years. There are so many times where I'm like, if I just put all my buying power into my 15 ideas from the Outlook, I would do a lot better than trading all year. But then what would I do? Anyway, but there's lots of different ways to do it. The Outlook's awesome. The Alpha team is also a great place with so many great traders that have awesome ideas, even sometimes better than mine. The Note helps put it all together. And if you're having some trouble out there, just use your resources. Whether you want to do this and be a part of my community and do more than tuning in on a video like this or tuning into 630 Club, I am here every day. This is what I do. I'm here. I try and make money. I need to make money quarterly, monthly to move forward. I'm not just a talking head on TV, even though I'm on Fox Business 2 to 4 times a month, and I don't have a publicist. I don't spend $5,000 to $10,000 to get a sound bite so people think I'm good. No, it's because I'm consistent. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been through every different market cycle, from the NASDAQ bubble bursting, the financial crisis, the pandemic. I'm 51. I have all the different time frames, and I work hard, and I want to do that with all of you. And if you could help add value, there are a lot of people who join the Alpha team, and all of a sudden they're big contributors, and I value what they say, and I appreciate that, And this year was a big year, percentage-wise. It wasn't the easiest trading. Sometimes, like 2007, 2008, I made 5 times my average year. During the financial crisis, when everybody was jumping out windows, or 2020 during the pandemic, I did the same thing. So on a year like this, if you didn't do as well as you thought you should do, there's a lot of years in front of us. Just get over it, get yourself ready, get your mind right, so this way you could approach next year with a fresh outlook. And I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to be here more times than I'm not, and and hopefully try and help you connect the dots. And we all have different dots to connect, but usually they're stable and they're firm, and they build. So let's all build them together into the new year and make some money. My new little mantra for this next few weeks is, let's make memories and make money. Money means nothing without memories. If you buy yourself making money and nobody's helping you out and hanging out and having fun, you know what? There are a lot of rich billionaires that are not that happy. I'd rather be in this position, making memories, making money, and moving forward and making progress. And I think we could all do that together in some capacity.
Okay, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show today. We will be back with more next week. So especially if you are on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the.
By the way, I think it's only going to be 30 minutes, so it's not going to. This is the 90-minute,
Guys, don't listen to Scott. We're going to be here for 2-3 hours every Friday. No, we are going to be doing a lot more live content in 2024, and we hope you see you there. We hope to see you there. So again, make sure you X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it, getting a little wacky. So if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed. And Scott, as always, thank you. It's been a blast.
Thanks for doing what you do, Michael. I appreciate you. You're my right-hand man. And, I couldn't do what I do without you. So let's keep doing it in 2024 and just figure out how we can do it a little bit better.
Okay, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. And again, don't forget, t3live.com/outlook, t3live.com/outlook. Get all of Scott's ideas for 2024. And we hope you have a happy and healthy new year.